If you want to buy an Airbnb in Mexico, then this video is for you because I interviewed Susana Rapini. She's an accountant who specializes in helping people outside of Mexico pay their taxes and save money on taxes in Mexico. We cover everything you need to know from property taxes to LLCs to income taxes when investing in Mexico. And if you're looking to buy a property in Mexico, I suggest you download my step-by-step guide that I created free for all of you. Links in the description. And if you're serious about investing, I suggest you reach out to Susana Rapini. I left her email and WhatsApp in the description below. She'll give you all the information you need to get started with taxes there. All right, Susana, thank you for doing this. You want to tell me your full name, a little bit about what you do first before we get started?
Okay, my name is Susana Rapini. I live in Cabo San Lucas. And basically what I do is accountant. I do immigration papers. Foreigners that comes to Mexico, it means change the visa documents. I do housekeeping and administration, and also I work with the buying and selling properties.
Okay.
Basically, other things, no?
Okay, so it seems like you're perfect for this because you know about buying and selling properties, but also you know about foreigners dealing with stuff in Mexico. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got a specialist on our hands. Good. Okay, so my first question is that if I buy an investment property in Mexico and I live in the United States, what kind of taxes do I have to pay?
Okay, you only have to pay two taxes. One is called the ISABI here, and it's between the 2% to 5%, and it's calculated over the value of the property. And the other tax that you have to pay annually, it's called, and it's a kind of land taxes that the government charge to you. So that's the only two. You don't pay capital gains or ISR, as it's called here, when you buy a house. That tax pays the guy that sells you house. Okay, so you only pay the ISABI, which is a percentage over the value of the property, and then every year the predial, which is a kind of land taxes.
Okay, so there's the 2 to 5% when you buy, and that's off of the purchase price. So if I have $100,000 house, then I get 500.
Yeah, depends of the value, which is a value that they make over. I mean, it's a value that they give to the house, and depends on some things, but it's between the 2 or 5%, depending the state where you buy. Okay, because every state has a different rate.
Okay, so it depends on where you buy. It's between 2 to 5%, and that term that they're looking for is known as the avalo.
That amount is kept by the notary, and the notary pays it to the government. So you pay immediately at the moment you sign all the papers and you receive the escritura, you pay that taxes.
Escritura, that's what the other one's called?
Escritura are the papers of the house. I mean, it's the title of the house.
Okay, and so you pay that every year.
Ownership.
That's the one that you pay every year.
No, the escritura is done once.
Okay.
It's, the papers of the properties. I mean, it's like the contract with all the details of the property. And the predial is paid at the municipio or the county or state once a year. If you pay it in January, you have a 20% of discount. If you pay in February, you have a 15%, and then if you pay in March, you have like a 10% over the amount. It's not so high. I mean, it's normally the most you can pay will be, I think, like 3,000 pesos. Maybe if it's just a huge property, and that's for all the year. So you pay only once.
Okay. So let me see if I understand the ongoing tax. You're saying the ongoing tax is 15, 20, or 10%? Did I understand that?
No. That's not the discount that the county that gives to you over the land taxes if you pay in January, February, or March.
Oh, if you pay ahead of time. If you pay in January for the land taxes, you pay you get 20% discount. February 15. Okay. Okay. Otherwise, you could pay in April then, and then
you can pay in April, but in April, May, and March, you start getting some kind of interest or penalty if you pay after that time. Also, if, for example, if you are residency and you are over 60 years old, the government gives you the option of having a senior card. That senior card allows you to pay only 50% of the land taxes. And you can pay any time in the year, but you only pay the 50% of the whole amount. Okay. But that's if you are residency and if you are over 60 years old and if you have the senior card.
Okay. All right. So let me sum it up real quick. There's the ISABI, which is the tax that you pay when you buy the property. That's 2 to
Yes.
5%, depending on where you buy in Mexico.
Yeah.
Then you have a yearly tax called
Mhm.
it's a land tax called the predial, right? Did I say it
Mhm.
right? And that is you could pay in January, get 20% off. If you pay in February, get 15. If you pay in March, you get 10%. And then afterwards, you start accruing interest for paying it. But that depends on the size of the house and the location.
Yes.
All right. Okay, that's perfect. Thank you for explaining all that. Okay, so
Yeah.
next one is there a difference if I buy the house under an LLC or a company? I'm not sure what the company structures are in Mexico versus if I buy it under my name.
No, the taxes are the same. The Savi and the only difference with a company it's that you don't pay the fee, okay? Because I mean, all the foreigner people that wants to have a house, I mean, in all the Baja, since Tijuana to Cabo San Lucas, you have to buy it by comiso. Why? Because the law says that a foreigner can have a house more close to the beach. It's 30 kilometers close to the beach. So if you are a foreigner, you have to have a fideicomiso. But if you have a Mexican corporation, which is called here a Mexican corporation, you don't pay. You are Mexican, so you pay the same taxes. That's,
Okay, so if you're buying it under your name and you live in the United States, then you need to use a fideicomiso. So
yes,
comiso.
400 more, $400 to $600 more in the year because you are paying the fideicomiso. Every year, the banks charge you a fee for giving or I mean giving their name to you for being supposedly the owners of the house.
Okay.
No,
Yeah. And then so can I buy a house in Mexico under a United States LLC? Because when I spoke to Moxie, they said they do loans under LLC.
yes, you can, but I mean it's much difficulty because you have to translate the papers of the LLC, and then you have to make an inscription here, get the LLC number. It's more complicated. So it's much easier and much cheaper if you get a corporation here, a Mexican corporation, and do it by that way.
Do you
The
have to live
DLC
in
is
Mexico to have a Mexican corporation?
yes,
Okay, so you would have to buy a house. So, like, if let's say you're someone who wants to buy multiple houses in Mexico, then the way you would do it is you'd buy one first under the fideicomiso, and then you have a place. Then you can create a Mexican corporation, and then be able to buy
no.
houses.
The way is this. What I recommend and everybody is this. At the meantime, they are looking for the property. They can do the residency papers. Okay,
Okay.
because in the future it will be important and they will need it. It can be temporary or permanent residence. Once they have the temporary or permanent residency, they can start with the corporation. The corporation takes around well in full doing the papers, making descriptions and everything can take months or a month and a half. Okay, so in that month and a half, you will not close the sale because normally the sales takes more time to be closed.
Mhm.
So by the time you close the sale, you have the corporation, you have the residency, and I mean, you just put the property under the corporation, and that's all. And also, the corporation allows you to have different activities. So you can buy and sell houses, you can work renting boats, you can be an accountant, you can do different things. So in the future, if you want to do something else apart from having a house and not paying, you can work also with the corporation. And you have your RS number, you have started the way and you have started you have everything before. So you can do whatever you want after.
Okay. All right. That's a cool way. So to sum it up, you suggest that people come here, they get the temporary residency. How long does temporary residency take?
One day,
1 day?
yeah. One
Oh.
day you start the process in the States, getting a visa for living in Mexico. And once you get the visa, you come here to Mexico and you change that visa for a temporary or permanent document, depending on the condition they give it to you. And the same day you go to immigration office, the same day they give you the visa. So it's only
Okay.
one day.
Wow. Okay. That's so you get the temporary visa, and then soon as you have that, you can apply for the corporation in Mexico.
Yeah, or you can start the papers of the corporation. In the meantime, you're getting the visa, because then they can modify the information before printing the final information and signing it. So, I mean, everything can be working together, and then it's like you recheck everything and you fix everything which is now done, and you go ahead.
Do you help people with that process? So let's say they wanted to work with you.
Yes, I have people now in La Ribera that they started with a temporary document. And at the same time, we started the company. So now the company is finished, and they have first the temporary. Now the company is finished, and they are still waiting for closing the property. So
Okay.
you see, they had enough time to do all the first issues and then to finally close the property.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. All right. Let me see what else I got here. So to being able to deduct taxes in Mexico, in the United States, when you buy a rental property, there's a lot of things you can deduct. Like you can deduct the mortgage interest from your taxable income. You can deduct, I think, some of the expenses on the property. What can you deduct from your income? So let's say you make $10,000 from a rental property in Mexico. Can you deduct the interest that you pay on the mortgage and bring that down to 8,000?
Well, about the interest, if you have a loan here, you can deduct certain amount, not the total of the interest, and that amount is being discounted at the end of the year. The bank, where you have the loan at the end of the year, gives you a detail of the interest and says what part of those interests are deductible and which are not. So that's with a loan. If you don't get a loan and you have the property and you rent the property, you have to declare every month your taxes. And apart from that, there are two ways of paying taxes when you rent a property. One is applying to a blind deduction, which the government gives you the option to deduct only from the amount you receive, you deduct the 35%. But in that case, you can deduct electricity, you can deduct any repairs you do to the house, or nothing of that. You only can deduct the predial. That's one way with the blind deduction. The other way is not apply to the blind deduction and deduct all the repairs you do. All the what you buy for the house, all the repairs. But the issue is when you do that, the second way, maybe there are months that you don't have done anything to the house. So you don't have anything to
deduct.
Yeah.
So at the end of the year, you can decide, so I want to deduct 35%.
No, you have to decide at the beginning when you start paying the rental taxes. Okay. If you decide by the blind deduction or if you decide on the other way.
So you don't.
So most of the people goes by the blind deduction because every month they can deduct automatically at 35% of the income. From that amount, then they charge the income taxes. And if you don't have any repair, you pay taxes over the huge amount or the total amount you receive.
So maybe if in the beginning of the year, I got to fix the roof, I got to do some big things, then you might pick the individual deduction.
But once if you change doing monthly deduction at the beginning of the year, you have to continue all the year that way. So if you have a repair of the roof in January, but you don't have anything else till October, November, or after the hurricane season, there's no deduction, so you have to pay in full. The other way, maybe you have the same expenses, but you will deduct them during all the year, by the 35%.
All right. So most people pick that one because it's more money.
Everybody goes by the blind deduction.
Okay. All right. Okay. At what point should someone, let's say they're, trying to buy a property here in Mexico, at what point should they reach out to working with someone like you who can help them with their taxes? Is it before they buy the property? I guess if they're doing the corporation, it would be before they buy the property, right? But if they're not doing a corporation, then afterwards?
Yeah, it really depends on what they want. There are people that are connecting me since the residency. I start following them, getting the appointment and coming here, change the deed, getting the document, and then the RFC, and then the corporation. There are people that, they do that process, the residency process, someone else that is not me, and then they come to me to do the corporation or to pay them the taxes or to give them, some advice about how they have to follow up. Depending on, I have everything. I have since the beginning, in the middle, and at the end.
Okay, so it
And I
depends
have
on.
those that also only needs me to change the CFE name or, pay the land taxes every year. Depends on.
Okay, all right. So then it seems like depends on what you want. You
Mhm.
choose beginning, middle, end, wherever.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So then are rental properties taxed differently in Mexico than income tax? Or are they are like, because in the United States there's capital gains tax and you pay like 0% up to your first, what is it, 40,000, then 15,000, 15% up to a certain amount, then 20% after that. Is there different tax bracket compared to if you have a job in Mexico versus if you have a rental property in Mexico?
Well, when the taxes here is calculated, as I told you, over a huge amount, you deduct the blind deductions, for example, and over that amount, you have different percentages. If from 1 pesos to 10 pesos is like, I'm saying figure numbers, okay, because it's a long.
Yeah.
From 1 to 10, for example, 1%. From 11 to 25, 2%. From 26 to 50, another percentage. So you pay, it depends on how much, it's a percentage.
Okay, so it's similar to the United States then,
Yeah.
like how income taxes are.
Mhm.
Or so, but what I'm saying is in Mexico, like, does the government look at rental properties as different bracket, like different sets of brackets, different percentages compared to if you have a job, different percentages?
No,
No,
it's the same.
it's all the same. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. And then lastly, a huge concern of people who are watching the videos, and I asked this too, was have you had any issues or heard of people who have had issues with buying a property and then either the cartel or the Mexican government comes and takes away their property or, does something to them, damage their
No.
property or
I
something?
mean, people is very scared about all the things they hear about Mexico.
Yeah.
Really, when you come here, you will see that it's completely different from what the TV or the news tells you. The government never will take your house unless you have a legal procedure. And if that house involved with it, no?
Okay.
If I have a legal procedure about that house and the house is in the middle, and finally the judge says, okay, take the house because you own a huge amount of taxes or whatever, okay, but it has to be a procedure first.
Mm-hmm.
You have to own a lot of money to the government, and you have to pay your taxes for a long time before they do that procedure. Okay.
Okay.
And about the cartel, here the Baja has only one highway, so for the cartel people it's very difficult to stay here because they don't have any way to go. The police start to run after them.
Yeah.
And really, they get it. They how can I explain you? They take your property or they kill you if you really work with them, or if you do something wrong to them, or you're inside the organization. If you're not there, you will not have any.
So
You have a
basically,
beautiful life.
if you stay away from them, they
Yeah,
won't touch
stay
you.
away of the problem, and you will not have any problem.
Okay. All right. I also heard that, depending on where you buy, there's either more cartel presence or less cartel presence. So it might be better to.
Yes, but they don't. They don't get it up. They don't mix with the people. If you work with them and everything, it's okay. But if you buy the house, you can buy a house in Sinaloa if you want. But if you don't belong to the cartel or you don't work with them, you don't have any problem.
Mhm.
Mazatlan is full of American people living here. Mazatlan is in Sinaloa, and it's the most beautiful coast and the most beautiful place. And we never heard anything about that.
Mhm. Okay. So then you came from Italy, right?
Yeah.
Mexico. So before you came to Mexico, you had these worries too, I'm assuming.
Well, I was born in Italy. I grew up in Argentina, so when I came to Mexico, I was in Argentina. So I have a experience about inflation, countries changing different situations. I have been living there. So Argentina has a lot of economic problems and a lot of issues.
Mhm.
So for me here, it's like living in the paradise.
Living in paradise.
Really, really.
Wow.
Because I
Okay.
mean, I have been living here 22 years since I came here, and I didn't have any problems. I also have the Mexican citizenship now,
Mm.
so for me, it's I would not move from here. I'm very happy here. And I always say to people, come and see, come and live, come and cook for a few months, and you will see that it's different.
Mhm.
Really, all the background. There are little towns, there are bigger towns. I mean, the people are friendly, the weather is nice, taxes are not so high. The amount for living every month, I mean, what you spend for living is not so high as in the States or in Canada. There are a lot of communities of Americans and Canadians, so you will not be in an island. You have to speak Spanish and you will not know anybody.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, Mary was telling me she doesn't even speak Spanish. She only speaks English still.
a lot of American and Canadians that only speak English, and they go and do grocery, and they go to to buy things in town, and they have no problem because here people is, well, especially in Cabo San Jose South, everybody practically speaks a little bit of English or try to help the people
Mhm.
speaking another language. For me, for example, I speak Italian, I speak English, also Spanish. So people are very helpful. I mean, they try to help you even if you don't speak a word in Spanish.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. If someone wants to find you, where's the best way for them to find you? Is there website,
Well,
social
I
media?
use a lot of WhatsApp, so my phone number the most
Okay.
easy, most quickly I think, and then my email. My phone number. Do you want? I can say it. Can I
You could
tell it to you?
say it if you want. I don't know if I'll put it in, but I'll have it in the
It's
at least in the place for
it's
people.
5252, and then that's the area code of the country, and then my cell phone is 624-125-9640, and my email is SRAPINI at hotmail.com. So it's srapini at hotmail.com.
Okay. Got you. Special thanks to Susana for actually helping me and answering all these questions. Now, if you want to learn more about investing in Mexico, then click the video on screen where I interview Kathy Locicero. She's a specialist in helping people get customizable insurance for any property that they need in Mexico. She'll break down what kind of insurance you need and all the things to watch out for when investing in Mexico.